Hey everybody, welcome to my Melody for EDM tutorial. This is the first part of a multi-part series. I don't know how many parts it's going to be yet, but today we're going to be looking over motifs. Motif is basically a melodic structure or idea that becomes the core of the melody. And as we're going to be talking about melodies, we're going to be getting more involved in what makes melodies sound unique and attractive. It's not going to be. This is for EDM artists that don't know anything about music theory. So you don't. I'm not going to be going very deep into theory at all, and you can just jump right into this video series without knowing anything, and I'll try to explain everything as best as I can in a simple way that's not kind of full of vocabulary that's like chord theory or anything. So we're gonna start out with. These examples all range from different genres of music just to show that it doesn't depend on what genre of music you're doing. A motif is important in everything. So we're going to start out with some pop music. Katy Perry's Fireworks is the example I did in my MAT class when we went over motifs. So I'm just going to start with this one. Alright, I think most people have heard this song. And if we look at the MIDI file for it, we can actually take a look at what the motif is. Now, this motif is basically just it has one note and then it goes up for two notes and then back down. It's easier if you just hear it. Alright, so that's that little thing, this tiny, it's not even a bar long, that's the motif, and that is what's providing this melody kind of a attractive sound to it, because it's familiar and it, actually just, yeah, the fact that it's familiar is what makes it attractive. It's not just a bunch of notes just scattered everywhere. And it moves throughout the scale diatonically, and I know I just said I wouldn't do words like that. Basically, what I meant by that is, like, let's say that this was in the key of C major, which it's not because it has E flat in it, but if it was, it's moving throughout the scale in the way that it's not using any tones that aren't in the key signature. So, you know what, just forget I said anything about that, because that's not important. So, let's just keep going. We're gonna look at how it changes. Alright, so what's happening now is that the same idea, the one note and then two upper notes and then it comes back down, that idea is still there, but it's going along in different chords and different notes. See, before it was on C, and now it's starting on E flat and then going up to A flat. So that's just one example of a motif, and it continues and it grows, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit more later about development in melodies, but I think I'm gonna save that for my next episode. The next episode is actually gonna be much longer because I'm gonna be breaking down my Principalities remix, in which I remix the Russian national anthem. But this is just a really simple video to get us started. Now, this is Drowning by Omnivore, one of my favorite melodies in EDM. So this song, where is it? Right here. Let's just listen to this real quick. It's not too loud because it's probably super compressed. Now, when I first heard this melody, I immediately loved it, and I wondered what made it so awesome. And so I just made a MIDI of it right now, and this is what it looks like. So we're gonna just take a listen to it. All right, so what is this? Well, the motif is not as clear as Fireworks, as Katy Perry's, but it's still there, and once you figure it out, it's not that complicated. So you have 3 beats here, da 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 da. So this pattern right here is the motif. because Omni uses it again right here. And then he repeats it. And this pattern right here. So basically every measure of Omni's drowning is this pattern. The 3 beats, and then, okay, I guess it's, if we're talking about eighth notes, 3 eighth notes, and then another quarter note. So that's a very simple melody, but it's so good. I love that melody. All right, so Boss Wave is I was at Excision's an Excision event at yesterday night, and I heard I think it was Bill Gates played this. Maybe it was Dirty Phonics. I don't remember, but I noticed that this had a motif in it as well. Because of course, if you're a producer and you go to a show, you're gonna think about producing and how they made the sounds. But anyway, let's just play it. Oh wait, I'm not at the right part. It's like right here. All right, I'm not going to play the rest of it because most of you should know it. It's on UKF, so I'm going to assume that as producers, you guys probably know it. But anyway, let's just take a look at this. Now, the motif is pretty obvious. It's just this pickup and then a note directly above it. So, and it does it again. So this one, it's not as obvious though, because these pickups, you don't really think about them. They're really just leading to this note. But the fact that Silent does it all the time makes it catchy and memorable, and it's familiar, so that's why it makes it a more attractive melody. And then this is, I'm going to go into this in my next tutorial, but I'll just explain it now. Later in the song he does this thing right here. Basically, this is, I mean, Skrillex does this all the time. I mean, I do it all the time. He's just adding layers on top of his already made melody. And if you're going to do this, I recommend doing it in thirds, because if you do, like, don't do it in fifths. Because, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you were to do it in fifths, it doesn't have any kind of key signature quality to it, because a major fifth and a minor. Oh man, that's got theory in it. All right, if you're going to layer these notes, like have 2 of them at the same time, do it so it's 3 chord tones above it. And what I mean by that is that, so this is C, this key is in C minor. So, I mean, this is a fourth, so that's G and C. C is 4 notes up from G. And then this is B flat, this is E flat, that's 4 notes up. So this is done in fourths. And so most of these are done in fourths. Some of them are done in thirds. Like this is a third. And when I mean by fourths and thirds, like these numbers just represent how far away the note is from it. So this is 4. This is a fourth because this note is 4 chord tones away from it. So let's just count the chord tones. You have C, D, E flat, and F. In a C minor scale, those are the chord tones. In a C major scale, it would be. So it depends on what scale you're in. If you need help knowing what the chord tones of your scale is, you can look it up on Google. There are probably charts on it. You can also look at a circle of fifths, but I think that requires a bit of theory. So he's just layering the same pattern on top of it, and it's pretty easy to do once you figure out what notes are in your key signature. And so it's just interesting. So that's a pretty good motif. It accomplishes what it needs to do. It's very simple, and yeah. Now this is a very popular one. This is I'm not going to explain what it is until you hear it, because you should know what it is. I don't know if I got those notes all right, like all of them are accurate, but basically this is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And the motif here is these 3 notes, and then this note, which is either 3 steps down, or that's different actually, that's a different chord. But I'm not going to talk about what chord it is. But if you just look at it, you can see that that's the motif, and it's very short, but it's really memorable, and it just makes Beethoven's Fifth Symphony what it is. If it wasn't for this motif, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony would be nowhere near as memorable as it is. So, and then I'll just do one more. I was gonna go over a motif that I made in a song, but I don't want this to run on too long. Basically, this is the shortest motif ever, and it's so memorable and awesome. It's Jaws. Yeah, just like the motif is 2 notes. It's 2 notes, and they repeat, and everyone recognizes Jaws because of that. So, I really hope this helped. I'm gonna do more of these, and this is just a really short tutorial on just motifs. Motifs are it's a pretty easy concept, and you don't have to have a motif to make a good melody, but it provides a good basis if you want to start making melodies now. And also, it's nice to know how other great melodies are made by yeah. Sorry, I just lost my words. But it's just nice to know it, so that if you listen to a melody that you like, you can recognize that maybe there's a motif in there. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. I will, on the next one, I will go over Principalities and the Russian National Anthem and talk about what makes that so cool. Alright, see you guys later.